Ek weet nie of hierdie gaan help nie en om eerlik te wees, ek wil nie eintlik hê dit moet help nie. Vir nou wil ek net oor jou praat.
Hey nanas. Rita. Hey. Oh, jy is so mooi.
Eindelijk maar een wagen naar een straat, maar dat is niet verwerkt. Dus waar hij zijn voeten op die zand gaat, dat is kutgestunken.
Now, I can't recall this, but I've heard the story so many times. I was sitting on my bed 2 days before my birthday. My parents put a smallish gift box down beside me. It was moving, however, and soon the activity inside popped the lid off, and out came Rita.
Okay then. Wow.
Rita's personality attached to me instantly. She's mostly calm, but with little explosions of energy. She's independent and never too much. I started school with her by my side, and I can't really think of a time when she wasn't. Coming home after school or rugby practice, she was always right there when the car door opened, moving around frantically but never losing eyesight of me. Dogs have this acute awareness for emotions. As a kid, I remember crying over something stupid. Rita would appear by my side and carefully lick the tears off my face. I've always found it so much more comforting when someone consoles you without saying or asking anything. Rita also has this distinct bravery and adventureness to her. There's always something to bark at or investigate, and other times simply basking in the sun seems like an appropriate way to spend the afternoon. Me, my sisters and our dogs were always up to something. Our activities range from staging a marriage for them, to dressing them up, to drawing eyebrows on them. The betrayal in their eyes quickly faded and they would go back to trusting us again. The closeness of your relationship with someone constantly varies. I was now at a time with Rita where she was just around. I didn't forget about her and I still loved her a lot, but I can't say I was conscious of how important she was to me. I wish I just took her for a walk and let her lick the tears off my face again. I just wish I was more afraid to lose her. Dealing with what death really means, Rita became a core part of my teenage years. Through the normal ups and downs of these years, she would constantly be there when a girlfriend dumped me or when I just didn't really know what I was doing with my life. She's like this safe place I can always fall back on. Rita's favorite sleeping spot, especially when we were young, was against my side with her head on my arm. In her younger days, she had fought quite a bit with our other dog and she got badly hurt several times. I think in the long run this impacted her more than I had imagined. So now she prefers to lie on top of the blanket, otherwise she would start overheating. Resting with someone though, it's such a strange subconscious and oddly reassuring way of bonding. Zo. Kijk maar. Ik heb een babytje. En dan moet je naden.
Sy lyk so happy maar.
For the first time ever, I had to say goodbye to Rita for more than a month. I wasn't too sad. I was sure I would see her again, but in the back of my head, I knew there was a possibility of losing her while I'm away. She's after all a senior citizen now, but she's still so impressively energized. I gave her a little neck kiss and put her down. I found myself going back multiple times and trying to say goodbye again, but none of these goodbyes really seemed to give me any more closure. Although I'm now 7,200 miles away, Rita and I would FaceTime whenever I called my parents. Towards the end of the semester, my sister called me. It was all the normal things of how's life, what's new, what are you up to, but I could kind of feel her building up the courage to talk to me about something. She was already back home. I can't really remember what she told me, but Rita wasn't doing great. It had something to do with her heart. All I could remember is the possibility of making it home soon enough. During the drive home from the airport, my sister started telling me about Rita. She told me that earlier that morning, Rita had collapsed and completely lost consciousness. With some hidden pride, she recounted how she revived Rita. Of course, I was relieved, but I still cried a little. She was exploding with as much energy as she could gather, exactly how she always does. And then it happened. I couldn't cry only a little bit anymore. I squeezed her as tight as I felt I could. It felt like I was holding a vase that was cracked all over and filled with boiling water. She's still so completely unaware of how fragile she is. I think it's pretty normal human behavior to appreciate someone so much more when it feels like you're losing them. I spent all my time with Rita, whether it was just napping or watching the birds on her favorite spot. I wanted nothing more than just being around her. The vet said her heart was failing and that she had water in her lungs. He gave her medication to help with this, but of course you can't cure heart failure. I don't think the meds made her any better or worse, and she would still pass out and wake up a few times every day. She spends most of the time panting and fighting to get air. After a few days, we took her to the vet again, and he gave her some stronger medication. I'm riddled with confusion. I feel so guilty for keeping a struggling body with me, while her presence reminds me of everything we've been through. I really started thinking about the last 13 years, especially when we were young. It's difficult for me to navigate our relationship, mainly because it grew throughout so many years. It's not like there's one distinct moment that made Rita an integral part of my childhood, but rather the amassing of thousands of moments and emotions. Through the years, Rita became more than just a friend. She became a core part of my life. It made me think about the whole idea of it's just a dog, and I've come to the conclusion that I fucking hate that idea. Rita might have started out as a dog, but she has without a doubt grown to become like a real person in my life. The last few days I've had this immense weight on my shoulders. I've been avoiding the question by thinking of any other way. Yeah, I guess I'm in denial. I just don't get why I have to make the call. I thought maybe things will get better. It's all just a dark cycle I can't break free from. The more time we spent together, the more I knew. I don't know when I made the decision. It just kind of happened over the span of a few days. I sat her down in her favorite spot and we watched the birds. It made me sick to my stomach that she didn't know. I just wish I could explain myself to her. My mind was all over the place. I put her down next to me and we napped together like we had done so many times before. Maybe I hope to wake up to a different reality. My heart was teetering on the edge of a cliff, threatening to jump forward at any moment. There's such a painfully vast difference between missing something that still exists and missing something that is gone. I carried her lifeless body out to the backyard and we put her to rest under her favorite tree. As we celebrated her life that night, it rained for the first time that year in Namibia. The dry earth consumed every drop, and with that, Rita too. I understood that physically I don't know Rita anymore. I could still remember the sound of her voice and how soft her ears are, but I now only have emotions and memories of her.
I just miss her so much already. I'm glad I was there for her. I'm glad I could look her in the eyes and just try and make her feel alright. I held her in my hands, her face, and then she just said goodbye. She gave her last breath, lied down, and so painlessly she was just gone.
Liefste Rita, I'm sorry for leaving you behind when I knew you wanted to come with. I'm sorry for going away. I kind of wish you were still here. I kind of wish you would let me pick you up and run around with you. I kind of wish we could nap together again. But I kind of don't. The fact that the time we spent together is so irretrievable makes me cherish it so much more. Our lines might not run closely parallel to each other anymore, but you have a place in my being that will never disintegrate. I'll always remember you, even when I'm 102.
Oh, I just want my dog back, go.